defined by simplicity and love, not by measure, but by giving.
This is true. Simplicity and love are what mark a true Christ follower. But our problem is we become too cluttered with things of this world, that we don't have time to love. Your words are very convicting. So, tell us, who has been a few major influences or inspirations to your own life?
One of my greatest inspirations has been Saint Francis of Assisi. He inspired me to live a life dedicated to helping the helpless, to lead a life of poverty, and to dedicate service to the betterment of mankind. Also, the words of mystics like Saint John the Cross and Saint Teresa of Avila have also been highly influential to my life. The two greatest influences that have been in my life are Virgin Mary and Saint Teresa of Lisieux. Mary is someone who can help us love Jesus best. She is the one who shows us the shortest way to Jesus. I learned from Mary's experience at the wedding in Canaan how to attend to other people, the needs and to help the poor through her cousin Elizabeth and her baby. I consider Mary one of the most beautiful among women, the greatest, the most humble, the purest, and the holiest, and the cause of all our joy. I've learned from Mary's yes to the angel. I am devoting my life to Mary because she strengthens me and my relationship to Jesus every day. On the other hand, Saint Teresa of Lisieux has also been a major inspiration. When I say Saint Teresa, I do not mean the patron Teresa of Avila, though she has been a great and important model in my life. I mean the little one, the one who is like childlike faith, surrendered to God. She was the discoverer of the little way. Her way teaches us to pray, how to trust in God's limitless love, and how to live joyfully in a true spiritual childlikeness. These influences have helped me define my own way. My way is with Jesus, for Jesus, and to Jesus. Jesus is the ultimate example of love. He cared for and loved the poor and the needy with all his heart. For me, he is the ultimate inspiration.
Your inspirations are very well respected and explain your relentless love for the poor. Have you ever encountered any serious criticisms or opposition about the way you view and do your life?
The more a person stands for truth, the more they will begin to understand Christ and the persecution he suffered. Near the beginning of the 1970s, it was when I began to attract a lot of criticism. I was mostly criticized because of my outspokenness about Catholic doctrines and my support to various causes such as abortion. I don't support it. We were also criticized due to misunderstandings about our orders of finances. It was in the 70s I supported Gandhi's son with his unpopular population control campaign, which involved forcible sterilization. Can you imagine little children running around the streets naked, crying out to their mother, but has nowhere to go? What kind of steps do we need to take? I was criticized for this by the media and even my own Catholics. In the United States, I was criticized after accepting a $1.25 million donation from Charles Keating, who stole $252 million of it. I interceded on his behalf and wrote a letter to the court urging compassion. An Indian man named Dr. Chatterjee, who also had briefly worked in one of our homes, began investigating into our finances. In 1994, two British journalists, Christopher Hitchens, you probably know, and Tariq Ali, produced a critical documentary called Hell's Angel, based on Chatterjee's work. It was against me. The next year, Hitchens published the missionary position, Mother Teresa in Theory and Practice, which criticized our order. He described our congregation as a cult, which promoted suffering and did not help those in need. He said that my own words on poverty proved my intention was not to help people. The words he quoted were, "I think it is very beautiful for poor to accept their lot, to share in with the passion of Christ. I think the world is being much helped by the suffering for poor people." I never said suffering is beautiful. Never. Although I do think it is a privilege to share in the sufferings with Christ, there is a difference. This is a concept many critics do not understand because they do not know Christ. The missionaries of charity do not disclose their funds or details. Journalists have given estimates that our order makes about 100 million a year in donations. That is a lot. Critics argue that this money cannot have all been spent on the purpose of aiding the sick and the poor. They say this because our order's facilities are very cheap to operate and cannot cost anything like these high sums. Critics maintain the majority of the money donated to our order is transferred to the Vatican Bank in Rome, where it is used by Catholic Church in a non-Christian country for missionary work. The critic goes against much deeper than money. They say, we decline to use our influence and income to finance a properly equipped hospital, and instead devote our efforts to ensure that everyone receives eternal salvation. This is partly true. In 1 Corinthians 2:14 it says that the man without the Spirit does not accept the things of the Spirit and the things that come from God, for they are foolish to him, and they cannot understand them, because they are spiritually deceived. The critics do not understand that eternal spiritual health is more important than temporary physical health. I pray that they will receive this revelation one day. In my life, I have faced many oppositions, although I stand on the platform that because Christ has endured many sufferings, so shall we.
Thank you so much, Mother Teresa, for spending time with us here today at the Heart Cafe. Your life, words, and heart have been truly inspirational to us all. Do you have any final words?
Yes, we are little pencils in the hand of God, who is sending out a love letter to the world. Please, let us not forget this.
Well, there you have it. Powerful words from a powerful woman. I hope you enjoyed today's episode of Share Your Heart Cafe. I'm Larry Schwarzenegger. Have a good night.
So for my personal reflection, I just would like to say that I think Mother Teresa was an amazing woman who really stood for what she believed. And I think that she did face a lot of opposition, but I think that her life was a prime example of love, something that we need today. I think she wasn't the best businesswoman, but she definitely used her gifts. Her critics overlooked her 50 years plus of all her life spending on love. She says, "I never look at the masses as my responsibility. I can love only one person at a time. I can only feed one person at a time. And maybe if I didn't pick up that one person, I wouldn't have picked up 42,000. I think she knew Jesus intimately. She cared for every human soul, and she truly lived out her calling." For me, Mother Teresa is a prime example of someone that truly lived up to Christ's life. So, thank you, Mother Teresa.